Let's get started with Redis. So Redis is nothing but a in-memory data store. So it stores the data in RAM, instead of disk, which makes it very fast. So it is also used as a cache or a database and a message broker. So it works with different data types. Okay, so it works as a key value pairs and supports multiple data structures like strings, lists, set, hashes, and sorted set. So think of Redis as a very super fast hash map, which is running in memory. So to explain these features in very simple words, it is very fast because all the data is stored in the memory. We have a microsecond latency, and it's an in-memory storage. And also it supports rich data types, which we have seen earlier, like set, list, hashes, sorted set. It also has a built-in time to live or an expiration for the fields, which we'll see later. Okay, so these are the common red case use cases. Primarily, it is used as for caching. It stores frequently used data in the memory. For example, let's say we want to cache the user profiles or the product details, which are frequently used. It can be also used for session management, for fast read-write for user sessions. For example, you want to store the login sessions in the web applications. It can also be used for rate limiting. It counts the request in a time window. For example, you have a requirement wherein you want only 100 API calls per minute per user. It also can be used in gaming for leaderboards. Let's say you want to sort the ranking of the users of the game players. Right, you can also use it for ranking players by their score, or top five users in the gaming based on their score. So these are some of the use cases of Redis. So to understand Redis, we need to install Redis CLI. So Redis CLI is nothing but a command line interface, which we can use to store the data, read the data, debug any Redis issues, or to monitor the performance. So think of Redis CLI as a SQL client for Redis. So we can install Redis in Linux, Mac, and Windows also. So for Linux, this is a command which we need to use for installing the Redis on the Linux machines. Okay, and for the Mac machine, we can use this command brew install Redis. Since I'm using the Windows machine, I'm going to use a Docker. So I have installed the Docker desktop in my machine. And once you install the Docker machine, you have to run this command. So we have to pull the latest Redis image from the Docker hub. Then we have to give it a name and you have to run it in this specific port number. We'll see this in the demo. So I have installed Docker desktop on my machine. To pull and run the Redis container, we need to use the below command. We need to use Docker, run the container after installing it, run it in detached mode. To give it a name, I'm going to give it a name as Redis, and then we have to run on this port 6379 and have to use the latest Redis image. To pull the latest Redis image from the Docker hub. So let's run this command. So it is pulling the image from the Redis hub. Now the latest image is downloaded and it is running. We can check that using Docker ps, and we can see the Docker. You can see the Redis is running. Okay, and once this is running, then we can just have to go to the Redis CLI. For going to the Redis CLI, we have to use this command docker exe in the interactive mode, and then we need to mention the name as Redis, which we are running, the name of the container which we are running, and then we mention the Redis CLI here. CLI. Now we can see that we are in the Redis CLI now. We can do something like ping. It will give output as pong. So let us run few commands here. Set name is equal to Harish. Let's get those name. Get name. Sorry, just get name. Get the name. So this is, though Redis is successfully installed, it is currently running here on my Windows machine. So let's learn about Redis string commands here. So Redis string is the simplest data type. Okay, it stores text, JSON, or even the binary data. And also it gives multiple commands to store the data. So these are the list of string commands like set, get, set x increment. So we'll see them in the Redis CLI. So this is a Redis CLI. So we'll see what are the keys available right now. So we can see there are no keys whatsoever. The simplest way is using a set command, and you can mention the name. You can mention the key here, name, and you can mention the string value. Let's say I'm using my name here, right? So this is a set command. So we have to specify the key and the value here. It's a very simple command. So to get the value which we have set here, we use a get command. So we get name, and we can type the name here. On similar lines, we can also set the numbers as well. Let's say I'm using a counter here. Let's say I'm using counter as 100. So I get a counter as 100. We can also set the JSON values. Let's say I'm using like users.1. So let's say I want to set the JSON value. So I'm using like, name is equal to Harish, and age here is, let's say 35, and let's say something like this. So you can set this. So a JSON value is set here, and you can get the same thing here, users count 1. So you get back the JSON value which we have set. So if you have seen here, so we have set 3 things here: the string, the numbers, and the JSON value as well. You can also set a session and give an expiry time for it, but we have to use a set expiry here. Let's say I use a session as a key. So key is session 1, and I need to mention the seconds value for how long this specific keys will be there. Let's say I keep it for 60 seconds, and what is the value of the session? Let's say I use ABC. Okay, so if I do a get here, I get back the value. Let us come back to this after 60 seconds and see if this session is still available or not. Okay, the other commands which we can use is increment. So let's say we have used a counter here. Let's say counter. Okay, the counter value here is 100. So you can just increment this counter. So by default, the counter would be incremented by 1. So if we try to get the counter now, it would be 101. So on similar lines, we can also do a decrement the counter. Okay, decrement the counter, it will come back to 100. Just try to get the counter here, come back to 100. Let's say you want to increment by, so by default increments the counter by only 1. So let's say you want to increment this counter, let's say by 50. You can do that by using increment by. You can see we have incremented the counter by 50. Okay, on similar lines, there is also called as decrement by. Let's say decrement by this counter. Let's say I want to decrement this by 20. Okay, see we have 130. On similar lines, let's say we have a name, Harish. So let's say we want to append anything to it. For example, so let's say append. Okay, mention the key is name, and let's say I want to add my surname back. Okay, so space, and let's say I add the string, appended thing. So now if I do a get name, I can get Harish Kaur with a space here. So you can append also on a string using this append command. And let us see. So here we have set the session here, right? Session 1, and we have mentioned that it should remain here only for 60 seconds. and we got that value back. Let us try to get this value back and see if it is still available or not. Okay, so we can do a get session 1. You can see right now it is nil, doesn't have any value whatsoever. So initially we had this value as ABC. On similar lines, we can also set multiple values. Let's say using mset. Okay, initially we used to set by using set and key. So let's say you want to set multiple values. So you can use mset multiple values, and you can mention keys. Let's say a is equal to 1, I want to set, and b is equal to 2, c is equal to 3, d is equal to 4. Okay, and if you try to get those values, let's say a, I will get those values back. Get c is equal to this. So this is the basic gist of what we have learned. Okay, and if you just want to see what values we have set, you can use keys dot star. You can see these are the values, keys values, which we have set, like a, b, c, and d. We have used the counter here, and we have used the name, and we have used the JSON value as well here. You can delete also this. For example, if you use delete name, let's say I want to delete it, so it got deleted. So let's say I want to get the name back, it is not there. Similarly, let's say I want to delete this users :1, and I can delete that thing. So let us see if keys, how many keys are still remaining. Sorry, it is keys. You see, these are all the keys. Let's say you want to remove all the keys which we have set here, right? So you can use flush all, and this is going to remove all the keys. So flush all, and then you try to get the keys, all of them, everything is empty. So here we are going to learn about Redis list command. So Redis list are nothing but ordered collection of values. Okay, they work like linked list, allowing very fast operations at both the ends. So this list is going to allow you the duplicates, and it also preserves the insertion order here. So lists are commonly used for message queues, chat messages, activity streams. So these are some of the list commands which we will see in the Redis CLI: lpush, rpush, lpop, rpop, ltrim, lset, lrange, and ln. So let us go to the Redis CLI and run these commands. Okay, to get started, what we can do is we can use something called rpush. So rpush is going to take a key. Let's say we're using a numbers here, and here we're going to push elements into that key, into that list. So here nums is a list. Let's say we are using something like 10, 20, 30, and 40. Okay, so we can see we have 4 elements pushed to the list. To check the list, to find out the number of elements, or to see the list, we can use lrange. Okay, lrange, here you specify the key nums, and you specify the start value. So here the index here would be, for 10 it would be 0, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so we can also specify -1 as the last index here. So specify 0 and -1. You can see we have the list of elements here: 10, 20, 30, and 40. On similar lines, we can also push the elements to the left of the list using lpush. Lpush nums. So let's say here we are pushing something like 2, 3, 4, and 5. So right now we have 8 elements. So let's see those elements using lrange. So lrange is going to take the name of the list, that is a key here, and start and stop value here. So if you see here, initially it was 10, 20, 30, and 40. After that we have pushed the elements like 2, 3, 4, and 5. So first went 2, then 3, then 4, and then 5. We can find the length of the list using length and specify the key. You can get that we have 8 elements in the list. Okay, so let's say we want to remove the elements. You can use something called, let's say, lpop. So it is going to remove the elements from the left side of the list, from the starting point, let's say from here. So let's say we want to remove only a single element. You can just do lpop and nums, and find out the range here. You can see initially 5 was there, now 5 is no longer there. So this is going to remove a single element by default. Let's say you want to remove two elements from the nums from the top two. Okay, so it's going to remove 4 and 3 here. Let us see the list of all the elements. You can see here 4 and 3 is removed and remaining is 2, 10, 20, 30 and 40 here. On similar lines, you can also remove from the right hand side. Let's say I want to remove two elements from the right hand side. So here 30 and 40 are removed here. You can see we have only 2, 10 and 20 here. So similar, let's push few more elements to the right hand side of it. Let's say nums, and let's say we push 50, 60 and 70 here. So let us see the list of elements. So we have like this. So let's say we want only these elements like 10, 20, 50, and we want to remove all the other elements here. So what we can do here is, so we can specify something called as L trim. Okay, so what it is going to do here is, it is going to take the starting element, which is here it is 1 index, so let's say 1, and stop we want to have till 50. So it is 0, 1, 2 and 3. So 3 here is inclusive. So from 1 to 3. So we want only these elements in the list, and we want to remove 2, we want to remove 60, and you want to remove 7. So we just want this element. So we're trimming the list here. So specify the index and stop also, which is inclusive. Okay, and let us see what are the elements right now. If you see, we have only 10, 20 and 50. On similar lines, let's say we want to update this element 50, that is 0, 1 and 2. So we have, so for that we can use something like set, we can use nums, and we want to update the index, update the value 50, which is at index 0, 1 and 2. So we take that index 2, let's update it with 100. And we can see we get a value as, we have updated this 50 as 100 here. On similar lines, we can also get the index of that, get the value from the specific index. Let's say I want a value at index number 1 here, which is nothing but 20. So we can get back 20 as a value here. Okay, so this is going to give us all the elements at that specific index. And if we want to see all the key values here which have been set here, we can see all the key patterns value here. Sorry, all the keys, we have only set only the numbers here, so we can get only a single element here. And the L range, which I've used for quite often here, we can use nums here, and we can specify the start element and the last element. And last element by default is -1, or let's say let's add few elements to demonstrate this. Let's say I have nums, let's say I have like 50, 60, 70, 80. Okay, and so 0 and -1. Sorry, it is not keys, it is nums. Okay, so if you can see here, so instead of counting the elements and specifying the last index, we can just specify here. So if I use L range and nums here, and starting point is 0, or you can just specify any index for that matter. Let's say I'm using 1, 2, 3. So we're getting what are the elements present here, 20, 100 and 50. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So we can specify this way also, like I can want from 0 to 6. You will get the same thing, and it is same as -1. Okay, so this is a different way we can just get the range of values within the list. And just go through all the commands which you have learned here, right? Starting from the R push, getting the range of it, and also we can get the length of that specific list. We can pop the element. If you want to pop the element from the left hand side, a single element, we can use L pop, and we can also use L range definitely for seeing all the elements here. We want to pop two elements from the left, or if you want to pop two elements from the right, we can use this. We're pushing those elements back here. Let's say we want to trim it. Okay, you want to just completely trim it. Let's for the given list, and we want only 10, 20. We can use specify the start and stop index here. If you want to set it, you have to update a value at a specific index. We can use lset here. We specify the index which you want to update with the updated value here. Similarly, let's say we want to get the value at a specific index. We can get it this way, and definitely range is going to give you the values based on what we specify at the start and the stop index. Let's learn about Redis Set Command. So Redis Set Command actually does nothing but stores the unordered collection of values. As the name suggests, they have they have unique values and they are unordered. So they have only unique values and they give very fast operations like adding values, removing values, and checking whether the members are present in the set or not. You can also perform math operations like union, intersection, and difference. We'll see this using the commands. So what are the common use cases where sets are used for storing, let's say, unique visitors, or storing the user interest, or storing some backlist or whitelist values? So let us check all the set commands. So these are the list of sets commands which we are going to look at. Okay, so let us go to Redis CLI and explore these options. Okay, to add directly into a set, we have command like sadd. Okay, so let's take a key as nums, and here we'll add some values. Let's add some duplicate values as well. 3, 3, 4, and 5, something like that. Okay, so 6, 7, 7. Okay, so we have, if you see, we have added so many values, but the added values are only here are 7. So how to check the values present in the set? Using set members, and we mentioned what is the key here. Okay, so this is the key. Yes, if you see here, even though we added the duplicate values of 2 and 3 and 7, they have only taken the unique values here. Okay, and other thing is, let's say we want to check if the values present in the set or not. So for that we can use something called isMember. Let's say if you want to check if 4 is present or not, so it is going to give 1, which means it is present. Let's say give one more value, let's say 100, and it's going to give a 0 value. If we want to remove an element from the set, we can use strem numbers. Let's say we want to remove, let's say 7. Okay, let us check out the set once again using smembers, and you can see the number 7 is deleted from here. You can also pop an element from the set, but it will just pop the random element from the set. So for example, I'm using spop nums. If you see 5 is being popped, so it randomly pops any element from the set. You can pop more than 2 elements as well. For example, let's say I want to pop 2 more elements here. It is going to pop 4 and 1 from here. So let us check the members now. You can see, so we can see you can have only 2, 3, and 6. Okay, let us explore the union difference operations here, set operations here. So let us create 2 more sets. Okay, let's say I'm using nums 1. Here I'm having values like 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, till 6, and I'm taking one more set here, nums 2. Let's say I'm taking only even numbers here. Now you can also find what is the union between these two sets using yes union. Okay, and you have to mention what is the key, num1 and num2. Nums2. Okay, you see it is going to combine the values between these two sets, like and it is going to remove any kind of duplicates. So any overlapping values would be considered as a single value, and we see it is having all the values as a union. Now let's say we want to find the difference, that is the common values between these two sets. You can do using inter, and you can mention nums1 and nums2. You see 2, 4 and 6 are only the common values between these two sets. On similar lines, we can also use something called as sdef. Okay, now what it will do here is, so it is going to only going to take values from the first set, okay, which is not present in nums2. So here if you see, this 1, 3 and 5 is not present in nums2. It's the difference between this set and this set. You can reverse it also, like nums2 and nums1. You see we have 8 and 10. 8 and 10 is the only unique elements present in nums2, which is not present in nums1. You can also store the values like using union store. Okay, here let's say I'm taking this in the set nums1 and nums2. If you see the union which we got, you can store it in a separate set in this way. As union store, you store it in a result set. So let us check out what is the result here. The result is nothing but the union of both the sets here. There is one more option called as random member. Or probably you can take nums1 here. So what it is going to give you is a random number from that specific set. Let's say as member numbers. So it is having values from 1 to 6. Let's say you want a random number from here. So for that purpose, we can use a random number. So it is going to give a random element randomly from that set. If you want more than one element, you can mention how many elements you want. Let's say it's going to give the elements like 2, 4 and 1 from this specific set. So let us revise what we have learned here. Okay. So for adding, we are using sadd. It is going to add only the unique numbers here. To checking the elements, all the elements in the specific set, we are going to use as members here. To check if a number is present there or not, we are going to use as member. If you want to remove a certain element from the list, you're going to be using sram. If you want to pop a random element, we are using spop here. If you want to pop more elements, you mention that count here. On similar lines, if you want to find a union of these two sets, you can use yes union. Common elements between the two sets, you use inter. Unique elements in the given set, use difference. And if you, let's say you want to store the result of the union, you can use union store. And also, if you want to get a random number from a set, you can use it as rand member. If you want more elements, more random values from a given set, you can just specify the count this way. So let's learn about Redis Sorted Set command. So sorted set commands, like it is like a set. All the members here are actually unique, and each member here has a score, just like a priority queue. And automatically, all of them are sorted by the score in an ascending order. And also, it supports rank-based queries, and we will see these examples when we write those commands in the Redis CLI, and we'll come to know about all these things. So basically, it looks like this. Each member in a Z set, is stored as a member and a score. For example, let's say I'm storing this like something like this. So Tim is having a score of 200, and Jim is having a score of 100, and Harish is having a score of 150. So they're automatically sorted by the score in an ascending order. So these are some of the list of commonly used Redis sorted commands, and let us explore them in the Redis CLI. Okay, so to add in a sorted set, we use something called a Z add. Okay, and let's take a key as games, and in this specific games, let's add a score of 100, and let's take score as 500, and let's name the member as Harish. Let's add a few more members. Let's add Tim as 300, and let's add 700 as, let's say, Mary. Okay, so we have these three members been added in the sorted set. So by default, they're sorted in an ascending order. So to get that, we just mentioned Z range. We mentioned the name of the key, and we mentioned start and stop. If you see this way, you'll get all of them are sorted in an ascending order. So right from the Tim, which is having a score of 300, then Harish, which is having a score of 500, and Mary, who is having the score of 700. So it is an ascending order. To get the scores along with them, we can also mention something like with scores. So it is going to give you the name along with the score. Okay. Now to get this in a reverse order, what we can do here is, let's use with scores, and instead of range, we can just mention reverse range. Okay. So here we'll get it in a descending order. So Mary here is the first, then Harish, then the Tim. You can also see without scores. So we have three names here: Mary, Harish, and name in a descending order. We can also get score of each member using Z score. Okay. Mention games, and like, let's say I want to get score of Harish here. I can get the score as 500. I can also increment the score by using increment by games. Let's say I want to increase the score of Harish by, let's say, 500. Okay, then I can mention this, how much should I increment by, and then the value, that the member value, that is Harish here. So now current my value here is, Harish value here is 1000. So let us find out the same thing using with reverse range with scores. We'll see here now Harish comes as the first. Initially Mary was the first. Now after incrementing it by 500, so Harish is at the top level with the score of 1000. Okay, and similarly we can just count how many members are there in this specific sorted set using Z card. Okay, and you can just mention games here. You see there are three members inside, and there is one more command, Z count. Here based on score, right, we can just find out, like, let's say you have a minimum of 100 and maximum of 800. So within that score count, how many members are there? So right now only Mary and Tim are do satisfy this range, so it is going to give you 2. If I put like 1000 here, it's going to give me 3 members. Or if I just put between 100 to 200, nobody is satisfying this criteria, so we have 0 here. Similarly, we can get the rank of each member. Let's say I use Z rank. I mentioned key as games. I want to get the rank of, let's say, Harish. And by default, Z, just like range, no, this is an ascending order. So I will get the rank as 2, because there are 3 elements, and I am having the highest score. So my rank is at the last based on the Z rank. I can reverse it. Using reverse rank, I can get the rank as 0. This means I have the first rank here. So also I can, let's say if I want to remove any element, I can use Z remove games. Let's say I want to remove Tim here, right? Okay, Tim. It has removed Tim. So let's see. Okay, let's use Z range games from 0 to -1. So right now we are having only 2 elements because Tim has been deleted from here. So let us revise what we have learned. So So let's revise what we have learned here. So for adding elements in the sorted set, we use Z add. To find out the range in ascending order, we use Z range. To find the scores in the reverse order, we use Z reverse range. To get the score of an individual member, we use Z score. We can increment the score using Z increment by. Okay, this is similar way we can get the reverse range of from descending order. To find out number of elements in the sorted set, we use Z card, and so we can also count based on the criteria, like what is between a given score, like this is a minimum score and this is a maximum score. How many members qualify here? We can use Z count here. Also, you can use the Z rank here, which we can get the rank of that specific member based on the score. Z ranks give the rank in an ascending order. If it is having the maximum value, it will be last. Similarly, here, if we Z reverse rank, gives you the ranking based on the descending order. Since I had a score of for Harish had a score of 1000, it gave me a rank of 0. On similar lines, we can also remove a member from the sorted set using Z remove number, and it's going to remove that number. So let's learn about Redis hash command. So Redis hash is a data structure which is used to store field and value pairs under a single Redis key. Okay, so let's say we have a user here and we want to store the information about the user under a single Redis key. So here we can declare the key as users1, and within that we can mention all the field values. Let's say name, Harish, and age, and city, Bangalore. So all this thing can come under a single Redis key. So each hash contains fields and values, and they are very useful for storing objects like users, products, and such, in which contains multiple field value pairs. Okay, so these are some of the list of Redis hash commands which we'll have a look. Okay, let's start with the first command, which is set. Here you need to mention the key, so we'll mention users one as a key, and then you can mention the field value pairs. So let's say I take name, Harish, age, let's say 30. Okay, how do we access those values again? So for that, you need to use get and users one. Let's say we want to get the value for the pair, right? So here you need to mention what is the field name. So I'll mention name as a field name. I'll get the value here. On similar lines for age, you can mention here. To get all the field value pairs, you can do get all and mention the key here. So here we will get all the field value pairs which are set in this specific hash field. Also, we can also update the value. You can use the same set command, and you can mention users one. And here also you can mention the field which you want to update. Let's say I want to update age, and I want to make it to, let's say, 35. Okay, so initially it is 30. I'll make it as 35, and let us check the values again. If you see here, it has been set to 35 here again. On similar lines, we can also add a new field value pair. Let's say I want to add an email here to this specific user. I'll mention, like, at example.com. So if we check the value again, we will see email also has been added here. On similar lines, let's say if you want to delete of a key value pair, you can use HDEL, mention the key which we want, and then we mention, let's say I want to delete the email which I have set. You can delete it. Let us check all the values, and we get all the values here. Let's say if you want to increment any specific field value, we have increment by. Mention the key name here. Okay, mention the key name, mention the key, and then you can mention the field which you want to increment. Let's say I want to increment age by, let's say, 10. Okay, and let us see. You see, I have got the age updated to 45. Okay, let's say if you want to get all the keys which are present in this hash. Let's say we have let's h keys for that specific key, list of all the keys. So we have name and age here. On similar lines, let's say we want to get all the values for that hash data structure. We can use h values users and 1. You can see we can get all the hash values. So let us revise what we have learned here. To set a hash data structure, we can use a key and then mention all the fields and the values here on a single line. If you, let's say, we have missed out anything, we can also add later. To get a single field value, we can use like hget and mention the key, and mention the field here. We'll get the value. Correspondingly, if you want to get all the values, key pair values, key value pairs, then you can use hget all here. Similarly, let's say you want to update a single key value pair. So for that you can use something called as an hset, wherein we mention the field which you want to update with the new value here. Using the same command which you use, we can do that. We can do the updation also, and also we can do an addition of a new field also using the same hset command. And we mention the key, and you mention the new field and its corresponding value. Okay, let's say we want to delete a field here. We can also do the same thing. We can just delete that specific field value pair. We mentioned the field value here, and it will get deleted. If you want to increment a field value pair, we can do so. Let's say increment. Let's say we want to increment the age here. We mentioned the field name here, and by how much you want to increment. We can mention the same thing. To get the list of all the keys, we can use h keys. To get all the list of values, we can do h values here. I think there is one more which is called as h exist. We can check if the key exists or not. Let's say I want to check if age exists. It's a yes. Let's say now if I want to check if city exists, which is not present, we can do so. You see, it is not present. 0 means it is not present. 1 means it is present. So let's learn about Redis geohash command. So Redis geo commands allow you to store the geographical location, which is nothing but the latitude and longitude, and perform distance and radius based searches. So these are some of the use cases when we need to use the geohash command. When you want to find the nearby places, when you want to calculate the distance between two places, and you want to, let's say, implement location based searches. And when you are trying to build these apps like cab booking apps, food delivery, or store locator systems. So these are some core geo commands which are used in Redis. So these are the main ones. So geoadd is used to add the locations, the latitude and longitude. Geoposition is to get those coordinates, which is nothing but the latitude and longitude. So geodistance can be used to calculate the distance between two locations which you added. And geosearch is widely used for searching the nearby location given the latitude and longitude to find all the nearby locations from that point. And geohash is nothing but it is the latitude and longitude only, but only stored in an numeric form. So let's go to Redis CLI and check this commands. So here we are having a Redis CLI. So the first command is geoadd. Okay, this is geoadd, but we need to add like keys and places. Let's say add places, but here we need to specify what is the latitude and longitude. Okay, so to get the exact figure, so what I have done is I already have few commands here. Okay, so there are 3 locations here. Okay, for that locations I have added the longitude and the latitude. This is for Bangalore, this is for Hyderabad, and this is for Chennai. So let's add them one by one. First is Bangalore, second is like Hyderabad I'm adding, and third one is Chennai. Since we added the latitude and longitude here, so get back the latitude and longitude. There's a command called geo position, mention the key here, and then you can mention the place for which we added that latitude and longitude. You can see I get the longitude here and the latitude here. Similarly for other places also, you can give two places together here. Similarly, you can get the latitude and longitude for different places. On similar lines, let's say we want to find the distance between two places. Okay, in terms of kilometers or meters, let's say I want to find out the distance between Bangalore and Chennai. Okay, but here I need to specify, sorry, I need to specify whether I want in meters or kilometers. So I mentioned kilometers here. You can see it is giving me the distance between these two places for which I added the latitude and longitude. It says 293 kilometers. Or similar lines we can find for the other city also. Let's say Hyderabad. I'm getting almost like 500 kilometers, the distance between Bangalore and Hyderabad. So we have something called as geo search to find out the, from a given point, how many places are there. For example, let's say from Bangalore, we want to find out within the radius of 100 kilometers how many cities are there. Okay, or how many locations are there from member. Okay, is like Bangalore, and then by radius. Okay, and let's say I want something there within 300 kilometers. So what I have specified here is that from Bangalore location within 300 kilometers radius, how many locations are there nearby. We can see between Bangalore and Chennai it is 293 kilometers. So I think we'll get this as an output. But if you see Bangalore and Hyderabad, distance between them is around 500 kilometers. So I mentioned 300 kilometers. Let me give you a space here. 300 kilometers. You can see Bangalore and Chennai came together. On similar lines, if I want to mention like 500 kilometers, since the distance between Bangalore and Hyderabad is like and 500, I mentioned as 500 kilometers here. You can see all the cities, all the locations for that matter from Bangalore, how many of them are within the radius of 500 kilometers, we'll get all that information. Last command which you are going to look here is as geohash. It is nothing but the compressed version of latitude and longitude in alphanumeric form. So let's say I want to find the latitude and longitude of Bangalore, and also I want to find it for Chennai, and let's say for Hyderabad also. Sorry, it is a wrong, made a mistake here, a typo. So Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad. If you see these are the alphanumeric forms of the latitude and longitude. So this is how Redis stores the information about the latitude and longitude. The prefix which are very similar to each other are having locations. The locations which are very close to each other are having the similar prefix. Locations which are very far from each other have a difference. You can see here the T is only similar here, but other next part is D, F, and E. That means they are actually very far apart from each other. So within the given longitude, if at all a location is very close, you'll see most of the part would be similar. Only at the end, some part would not be equal. It is suggesting that those locations are very close to each other. So let us revise what we have learned here. So first is the geoadd, where we are adding the latitude and longitude in a given key for a given place. Then to get the latitude and longitude, you can use geoposition for a given member here. On similar lines, if you want to calculate the distance between two members or two places which you have put here, we can mention, and we can mention by what is the metric here. It's a 500, it's a kilometer here. Similarly, geosearch can also be used to find out how many locations are there from a given point for a given radius. You can just mention it and we can get those positions back. Geohash is nothing but the alphanumeric form of the latitude and longitude. We can get it here. So let's learn about Redis publish subscribe messaging system in this video. So Redis publish subscribe is a fast, lightweight, and an in-memory messaging system. Okay, that was going to allow two different applications to communicate with each other, and both the applications are decoupled from each other. Okay, so let's have a look at this diagram here. So we have an application here as in publisher, and also we can have an application here as a subscriber here. The publisher is going to send the message to this specific channel, and publisher is not aware about the subscriber here. So it's a fire and forget model, meaning that messages are not persisted and are only delivered to clients which are actively connected and are subscribed at the time of the publication. So we have subscribers here which are who are subscribed to this specific channel here. The publisher is going to send a message to this channel, and all the subscribers are going to receive this specific message. So the main components here are the publishers, subscribers, and the channel. Clients that send messages to this specific named channel. So we will name this channel, and all the clients are going to send their messages to that specific channel. Similarly, subscribers here that expresses interest in one or more channels and receive all the messages which are published to this specific channel. If we take a look at this example as well, a subscriber can be subscribed to multiple channels here. So we have different publisher here which are sending different messages to a different channel, and subscriber can receive messages from both the channels here. So we have few commands here which we can run on the Redis CLI to demonstrate this. We have something called a publish channel message, which can be used to post a message to a specified channel. We can have subscribe channel where we can subscribe to that specific channel and receive those messages. We can also subscribe using p-subscribe, which means that we can subscribe to multiple channels using a pattern. For example, here news dot star, if you mention, then it is going to receive messages from news dot sports and news dot event. We'll see this in an example using Redis CLI. So here I have opened 3 Redis CLI terminals here. Okay, so on this we are going to publish the message, on this we are going to subscribe to a specific channels. Okay, so let's subscribe to channels, like for example using a subscribe command here, and we can mention a channel name here. So let us mention the channel name as dev.app, right? And also we can subscribe to qa.app here, this way. And there is a other way of subscribing to multiple channels which I mentioned using a pattern, which is p-subscribe, and we can just mention star.app. Is going to mention it is going to subscribe to all the channels which are publishing message to the star.app. So let us use this terminal to publish the messages here. So here I am going to publish a message using publish command, and the channel name here is dev.app. Mention here this is dev message. Since both these channels are subscribed to this dev.app channel, so both of them are going to receive the message. So let us enter. So you can see I published the message, and this terminal also have received the message, and this terminal also have received the message, and both have subscribed using this. On similar lines, let me send a message to qa.app also, which both the channels are subscribed. So I have mentioned, sorry, I can mention something like this is a QA message, right? So you can see here, this is a QA message on this terminal. On this terminal also I have received a QA message. Note, since this is subscribed to all the channels which are having star.app, so I can publish a message to a new channel. For example, let me publish a message to uat.app. Okay, and please note that this channel has not subscribed to uat.app, so this is not going to receive the message, but this can receive the message. Okay, so this is a publisher. So this is, let me just change the message name. This is UAT message. You can see that this has received the message here, and this one has not received that specific message. So this is really helpful when we want to, subscribe to all the channels which pertaining to an application using the pattern here. So this is what I have described here as a key commands here: how to publish the message, how to subscribe to that specific channel, and how to subscribe using a pattern. We can also unsubscribe to a channel using unsubscribe and mention the name of the channel. Also, we can simultaneously unsubscribe from multiple channels using a pattern here.